let's discuss the IELTS writing module itself. So as we know, the IELTS exam, which is the International English Language Testing System, tests your English language, which is the EL, in 4 parameters, on 4 skills. So which is the listening, reading, writing, and speaking. Right? So the listening, reading, writing happens all together on the same day at one go. And the speaking part happens a couple of days before or after. And let's focus on the writing module in particular. So let's have a look at what happens in the writing module, and let's discuss some common questions based on that. So the very first thing which we see is how much time do you get for the IELTS writing task test, IELTS writing task. So you get 60 minutes to complete the IELTS writing module. And in those 60 minutes, you have to complete 2 tasks, which is task 1 and task 2. So any idea what is task 1 and task 2? In one word.
Is
report writing,
and essay writing.
Correct. So task 1, both of you write. So that's report writing. And the task 2 is essay writing, which is what we're going to look at today. And now, so because there are 2 tasks, we need to know how important is one task compared to the other. So how important is task 2 compared to task 1? So task 2 is much more important for the reason that it carries 66% of your marks, which means it comprises of 2/3 of your overall writing score, and task 1 comprises of 33%, which is 1/3 of your overall score, right? And because of that difference in the percentage and the weight of the task, you should divide your time accordingly, and you should spend 20 minutes on task 1. So that's 20 minutes on task 1 and 40 minutes on task 2. So this is very important that you assign more amount of time to task 2, because that requires a lot of planning and structure to write it down. And the last parameter is how many words you should write. So as we know, in task 1, we should write a minimum. The lower limit of words is 150 words for task 1 and 250 words for task 2. So that's the minimum which you should write. If you write even 1 word less than the requirement, you will lose marks in some parts. All right. All right, so let's move ahead and let's see what happens here. So before we actually start writing, let's look at the marking criteria and the parameter based on which the examiners correct your essay and your writing tasks. So this is the table which they keep in hand when they look at your essay, and they parallelly compare and they understand and they mark you based on that. So of course it looks complicated, but it's not. Let me explain that to you. So firstly, we need to understand what are the 4 parameters. So as you can see, there are 4 parameters here, which is task achievement, coherence and cohesion, lexical resource, and grammatical range and accuracy. And based on your level of achievement on these points, they award you band scores. So it's the highest is 9 and it goes all the way down to 0. And you are awarded a score based on that. All right. So let me explain this in a simplified manner. So the first parameter is task response. So task response means addressing the task. So task response effectively means writing on topic and not deviating so much from the topic. And the second thing is answering the question that is asked of you. So in a place where opinion is asked, that is the only time you should write your opinion. In case where there is no opinion asked, if there's just a general question, write only the general question. Do not provide your opinion, because that's not a requirement of the question itself. And the third point on this is the word limit. So you need to ensure that you are above the word limit that is expected of you. Okay, so let me write this down. And the third one is word count. So this is what task response effectively comprises of, and you need to keep these parameters in mind while you are writing your entire essay or the report. The second thing which we have is coherence and cohesion, but I would like to simplify this and call this as structure and flow. So I'm going to do that. So let me write this down. Structure and flow is about the organization of the entire essay, but I would like to simplify and explain this in a little more detail. So let's have a look. So when you are writing an essay, of course, we write in a number of paragraphs. So let's call it, let's say we have 4 paragraphs. So this entire thing, this entire composition is called an essay. And how well the ideas are organized and how well they flow from one paragraph to another, how well they go down, is structure. And flow. So let's say if I take one paragraph out and I zoom into detail and I look at it closely, how the paragraph itself is organized, how the sentences are connected, how the ideas are formed and explained, how the ideas are leading and linked to each other is flow. So structure and flow is basically the movement of the idea in a micro and a macro form. All right, so let me write this down. Organization and sequencing. All right, so that is structure and flow, and you need to have a very strong structure, very strong backbone, a skeleton to your essay for it to be very clear and effective. All right, now let's look at lexical resource. As the name goes, it's very simple. It's about lexical resource, which means the vocabulary, the resource of words which you have with you. So you should aim to use a lot of descriptive words, advanced vocabulary, language which is related to the topic, and you should try to include them in your task. All right, so let me write this down. So this is something which you need to take care of while you are writing it down. All right, and the fourth point is grammatical range and accuracy. So look closely, although it is one parameter, they are talking about two different things. They have grammatical range and grammatical accuracy. So grammatical range refers to the variety of sentence structures you use. So जैसे हम हिंदी में बात करते हैं, we try to use a lot of sentences and we have extended sentences as well, correct? So the same thing you have to apply in English, where you are making compound and complex sentences and not just simple sentences. So the variety, the range of sentence structures you have accounts for grammatical range. And as far as grammatical accuracy goes, it's about the correct tenses, the correct voices, the correct punctuations, capitation errors should not be there, and so on. So it's related to the precision and the accuracy of the grammar language itself. All right. So sorry, the grammar of the language itself. So let me write this down. Range refers to the variety of sentences. Structures. And accuracy refers to, let me write this down as well, the precision. All right, so this is grammatical range and grammatical accuracy.